Just accept that recording for me, you guys. Welcome. If I haven't met you yet, my name is Monica Perry, and I'm your Market Center Tech Trainer in 3 market centers in North Carolina. So welcome, welcome. Today is day 2 of boot camp. We are going to go over opportunities and Docusign. So I know that some of my folks, especially in Greensboro, don't use Docusign. So to compensate for that, we are going to break the class in half. So in the first half of the class, we're going to talk about creating our opportunities, the workflow that we need to follow to get paid as quickly as possible, creating opportunities on the go in the Command app, and we're going to look at some of the features in opportunities. We're going to break, then we're going to come back and cover Docusign so that the folks that aren't using Docusign don't have to sit through that portion of the class. So I just wanted to lay that out for you guys. Does anybody have any questions before we get going? Do my best to monitor the chat. Don't forget, this is your time, so ask questions, guys. Okay. Keep my chat over here on the right. Fantastic. Okay, so I'm also going to share this with you. I'm going to add some more resources to this later, but at least this way you will have the link. And when I update it, you will see the updates come through. Let me change this. I know not all of you use your Keller Williams email. So your resources are going to go down here in the chat. You're going to see on this resource page that each office that I'm part of, KW Elite Winston-Salem, you have your own little visual aid. KW1 Greensboro, you have your own. KW United, you have your own. So please make sure that you're clicking on your own path to get paid. Remember, each office is independently owned and operated. So each of you have your own way of doing things, which is great, but just make sure you're clicking on the correct one. For simplicity's sake, they're pretty much the same, just a few different nuances. So I'm going to click to open one up because this is the most important thing for you guys to remember when you're facilitating a transaction. Workflows are the way of the world now. People spend millions of dollars to establish workflows, okay? And that's what our path to get paid is, okay? So the best that you can stay on this workflow 1 through 6, the more quickly that you are going to get paid, right? So first step, enter a contact into Command. We did that yesterday, right? So if you have any questions about entering a contact, reference back yesterday's video, but we got to make sure that we enter any contact that is going to be associated with the transaction. For right now, we can only enter 2 by way of command. If you need to add additional contacts into an e-signature platform, you will need to do that in that e-signature platform, okay? When that contact decides to sell, buy, or invest in real estate, we're then going to create an opportunity. That is a transaction, okay? And we're going to look at that first. We're going to facilitate our documents no matter where you do that. Docusign, Dotloop, zip forms. You print them out and you get them signed in ink. You are an independent contractor. You can do your forms how you see fit within the legalities, right? That doesn't matter where you get them signed. It just matters that you put the finished copy into Command, into that opportunity, okay? So we're going to look down here. We need to add our documents and submit them to the Market Center for compliance. This, within 72 hours, that is not a Keller Williams rule. That is a North Carolina Real Estate Commission rule. Talk to your Market Center administrators, your compliance officers. I will show you how you can do that through Command. But just remember, that is a North Carolina Real Estate Commission law. It's not us, okay? So we're going to always add our documents to Command. Then we're going to, whoops. I have everything linked together, so it's like going back. There we go. So then we're going to create an offer and accept it, which is going to allow us to submit our commissions, okay? Then once we complete our commissions tab, we turn in our check, we've done all those things, we can get paid. Okay, so the two things that you have to do to get paid are turn in your documents to be reviewed, fix anything that's wrong, and then request your commission. Those two things have to be done in order to get paid. Do I have any questions about this? Because I get more questions on opportunities than I do anything else in the entire Command platform. And it's because it's your money. And I get that. So I want to make sure that you guys are on the same page, that you don't have any questions. There are no dumb questions. Please ask them. Go ahead.
So Monica, hey, so I know because we've been texting back and forth within here. I have an opportunity or an offer that was accepted, and I noticed there was at one point where I put things in Command and it just totally disappeared. We had an issue that was before you came on board, and we tried to rectify it. But anyway, at this particular opportunity, I'm at the process of we're trying to getting ready to close it out. So I kind of wanted to do the commission tabs. And I know at one point, all I saw was I had an opportunity to just do the commission, but now I notice it's offering commission, whereas the offer on this particular opportunity was accepted a long time ago. It was just a transaction that was being dragged out for months and months and months. So now I'm trying to go into the commission and rectify that. I know you gave me the steps to go ahead and do it, and I try to follow it, but it was like something in there wasn't letting me do what I needed to do. And I've done the commission tab before, but when they linked the offer and the commission together the way it did, it for some reason, yeah. Okay. So that way, yeah. And it might come off.
Diane, we're going to walk through every step of this, and then if you are still experiencing that issue, I won't be able to get you right after this class because I have immediate appointments right after, but I should be open by 4 this afternoon. Okay. Ooh. My day's kind of stacked together today.
Yeah, mine too. Like in the late evenings, I'm gone by in the evenings because I'm a dual agent, so at night I'm not available.
So if not, in the morning, maybe you can jump on before the class or something, but we'll work it out. We'll just get a text going, okay?
I'm sorry, real quick. Tomorrow we have class. I didn't see that on the calendar. I thought it was the shift class.
You guys there is a shift class. And it, everything that I do is recorded. So if you're going to the shift class, go to the shift class. You can watch my recording. Tomorrow we're doing websites and the mobile search app. But I do this every month, number 1. Number 2, everything I do is recorded.
Okay, perfect. Okay?
So don't worry about that. Good?
Thank you. Yes,
of course. Of course. Okay. Everybody's good to go. No more questions. Awesome. So let's hop over into Command. Remember, that is agent.kw.com, right? And we should bookmark that so it's easier to get in. And what browser is best for us to use? Somebody put it in the chat. We talked about it yesterday. What is the best browser to use to go into Command? Chrome. Yes, good, fantastic. Doesn't mean you can't use Safari if you're a Mac person. And if you're in there and you're experiencing difficulty, the first thing for you to do is go to Chrome. Okay. All right. So now that we're in Command, we went over adding contacts yesterday. We talked about Dakota and Sasha, my dogs. We're going to make those our clients for today. I'm going to let you guys vote in the chat. Do you want to see buyer documents or seller documents? You want to do a buyer transaction or a seller transaction? Whoever's got the most votes wins. Buyer. Seller. Buyer. If you don't vote, you don't get your voice. This is a democracy, people. All right, buyer it is. Okay, here we go. So we're going to go into the opportunities handshake here. Okay, you can also create an opportunity from the contact card. So if you are just now adding a contact to command, that might be the way you go. But I want your mindset to be that we're adding how many people? What is our goal of the number of people that we know to put into command? Does anybody remember that number? 300 people that we know that we want in command that we are talking to, right? So those people should already be there for the most part, unless it was just a lead that you got from something, right? But we're going to assume that this is somebody that you know, and you have been talking to them like we're supposed to, and now they have said, yes, I am ready to buy a house. Okay, so
Monica, sorry, how did you get into that screen? I usually go in through the contact. It's that after I create the contact, I usually go to opportunity.
You can do that. You just click on this handshake, Diane.
Okay, and you get here.
And you get to your pipelines. And so what we're going to do is actually talk about how we do the transaction. Then we're going to come back and look at all the features that are in this applet, because there are a lot. Then we're going to take a break, and then we're going to look at Docusign. Okay, everybody good? Okay, so we're going to come into the upper right corner of this opportunity screen and click Create Opportunity. We're going to get this window. Now, do you remember yesterday I told you if you were on a team, the best place to add your contacts was in your personal account first? I always like to touch on this. This is not a class about teams, but I just want to remind you, if you are on a team, you can see I have my team selected. I get this question all the time. Dakota, my client, if I start typing his name, he doesn't exist because he is on my personal side of command. And I'm trying to create a team opportunity. Okay, so that's why it's saying I have no options. If you are on a team and you have to create a team opportunity, but your contacts are on your personal side, which makes you maintain ownership, which is why I tell you to start there first. I want to quickly show you how you move them to the team temporarily while you do your transaction. Okay, you can do it from this screen of your contacts. You can click the box, select your bulk action. You're going to go all the way to the bottom and change the account to the team, and then confirm change account. So if you ever run into that issue, you're creating your opportunity, you try to create on your team, you enter your contact's name and it says no options, and you're like, I know my contact is in here. It's because your contact is on the personal side of command and you need to move them over. Do I have any questions on that? Because I know we have new agents. This includes if you're in productivity coaching, you're making your opportunities on the productivity coaching team. So you will need to move that contact over temporarily. Do we have any questions on this? Okay, great. I always like to just touch on that because I get a lot of frantic phone calls that people are trying to create their opportunity and they can't. Okay. That being said, we are just going to keep moving along. I'm not going to create this on my team. It's going to be for me. We chose buyer. And now I'm going to look for Dakota. And boom, there he is, Dakota Perry. Now, since I have Dakota and Sasha connected, okay, then Sasha shows up as a related contact. So we looked at that, connecting contacts yesterday. So now Sasha shows up. The default name of the opportunity is going to be buyer one dash buyer, seller one dash seller. That's how it's going to default. Because you love your MCAs because they pay you, right? Once you get an address for a buyer, come in and add it and make it look like that, because it makes it easier for them to search for that. So just keep that in mind. And those directions are, in fact, on your path to get paid. Okay, it does say that. When you have a listing, put the address in the, you already know the address. When you have a buyer, go back later and edit. Okay. Pretty good. Cool. Okay. So we can tag, we're going to look at all that stuff later. You can put in your estimated closing date. If they're like, yeah, I want to be closed by, you know, July 14th. And you can put a time frame. You can put a budget. This is a one number. This is not a range. This is not 300 to 350. It's one number, max budget. Your half of the commission. Okay. It's your half of the commission. Naming this, so I'll remember what it is. And then we have our opportunity phases and stages. There are 5 phases: cultivate, appointment, active, under contract, closed. Cultivate, appointment, active, under contract, closed. The furthest you can take it when you're creating is active, negotiations. You can't create it under contract. You have to start with active and then move it, right? Do not leave it in cultivate. If you leave it in cultivate, that means, you know, they raise their hands and said, yeah, I might want to buy. Okay. And you're working with them. Your MCA can't see it. So always make sure that you're moving your transaction along the correct path. Does anybody have any questions on that? Good. All right, we're going to click create. This has brought us into our opportunities details. Okay, so we are in the opportunity or transaction, Dakota Perry buyer, whatever address it is. You can see Dakota is a contact that's associated and Sasha. We're in the details. We have an opportunity ID here. Okay. We have our market center information showing, but we have all these blanks. Okay. We are a company of tracking. If you want to get the most out of command, remember, put junk in, get junk out, come up and click this edit pencil. That's going to open this up so that you can say, we scheduled our appointment yesterday. We had our appointment today. They agreed to work with me as their buyer's agent and signed an agreement today. And maybe we wrote our contract today and went under contract. And we plan to close July 14th, right? We can even put what type of financing they ended up going with if we want. Okay. So again, the more that you give the system, the more it's going to give you back. Okay. Questions on the general information and clicking the edit pencil. This is also where if they are searching right now, but now we got a contract written, we can change it to negotiations, or we can change this to under contract. Okay. Everybody good? All right. Cool deal. So now we've got this done. If we have an address, let me go pull a beautiful listing. We'll give a shout out to the agent. No shade, Greensboro and Chapel Hill, but I don't have y'all's MLS. I'm a Winston-Salem agent, so Winston-Salem is where I'm going because I don't have my own listings. So let me get past all that. Go to my office active listings. We said my people could buy up to 350. So let's sort by price and find something good here. Okay, let's go here. Who's got this lovely listing? Ashley Lay and Heidi Christie. We're going to borrow your listing at 115 Meadow Suite Court in Winston-Salem. Okay, that's going to be the property we're making an offer on. All right. So now we can come into the property and go ahead and pick that listing right here and add it in. That's one way that we can do it. I'm going to show you another way as well. Okay. Questions where we can add the property. Good. Why are we doing what, Gail? The step of adding the address, it's because it will push it into Docusign. It will push it into Dotloop. It connects everything together, if that makes sense. Does that answer your question, Gail?
Okay, I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
I can, honey. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Is that the house that we've sold? Is that why we went into MLS to pick the one that we actually put under contract?
I just had to pick. I had to pick a listing, right? Because we're writing an offer for a buyer.
Okay,
So
okay.
I just went and found a house that matched.
Okay, I'm with you now. Okay,
Yeah,
I just
went and
somehow I missed
found a
something.
house
Sorry.
that matched with the budget that my
Got you.
people are buying. Good.
Okay, yeah, I'm with you now.
Perfect. So our details tab looks good. It's complete. Buyer profile, just so you know what this is, just means if they are registered with your consumer platform, it means that they have an account like on your website. We'll come back to that later, but just so you know what's in that tab. We are now going to move forward to our documents tab. Okay. So let's look back at where we are. We have entered our contact into command. The contact decided to buy a house, so we created an opportunity for them. We are now moving into our documents tab, right? So we are right here. Do we have any questions on where we're currently working? So follow that path, right? So we've gone to our documents tab, and now it tells us to pick a checklist type from the documents tab. So
can we get a copy of that sheet that shows all the steps?
Yeah, it's in the chat, honey. I'll redrop it in there.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. If it's there, it's fine.
No, it's okay. I just want to make sure that you can see it. Just make sure that you click on the one for your specific office. Okay. There we go.
Thank you.
Of course. All right. So on the left, we're going to pick our checklist type. So these folks are buying a house. They're not buying vacant land. They're not a referral, right? It's not a commercial and it's not new construction. It's just a residential house. So that's what I'm going to pick. That gave me my checklist. Okay. So I'm currently under the consultation folder and it's my buyer. So each office's checklist are slightly different, but a lot of it's the same. We need to get the working with real estate agents and the buyer agency agreement signed at the consultation. So if you needed to print the working with real estate agents or the buyer agency agreement, any of these that is underlined, you can click and print. Right here's the print button in the upper right. Okay. Or if you're going to get these signed in Docusign, we can come up to the button and click start a transaction. Like I said, Docusign is the second half of the class, but just so you know, you're going to click start a transaction and you're going to choose Docusign, or if you're a Dotloop user, you can also choose Dotloop. It's super important either way that you pick the checklist type first, because what's going to happen, especially in Docusign, is see how these documents have a DS next to them. That means that they are already mapped to Docusign. So when you click start a transaction and open Docusign, it is going to put those documents in to Docusign for you so that you don't have to go and look for them. Okay. You cannot have that happen if you don't pick your checklist type first.
So where's the button that says start transaction?
So Gail, it's over here in the rightish middle of your screen.
Okay, I probably have it covered. I'm sorry.
That's okay. It's like a super dark charcoal, almost black. It says start transaction. It's got a little
I
chain
see
link
it now.
next
I
to
had
it.
it covered up with pictures. I'm sorry.
Okay, no, you're good. You're good.
Okay,
Go
got
ask
everybody in the right spot now. Okay.
Ask those
with you.
questions. So if you start in a different program, we can't come back and link it later, right? So this is the path. This is why we follow this path. Okay. So any questions so far where we're going? So we've gone, entered our contact, created the opportunity, gone to our documents tab, picked a checklist type, and we're going to click start a transaction if we're going to use Docusign or Dotloop. If you're a printed forms person and you carry them around like I used to in my little rolling file box, good on you. Get them signed in ink. Doesn't matter, right? Doesn't matter where you get your forms signed, as long as they get signed and completed and turned in Command. Any questions here? Good. Okay. So let's say that we did just get them signed in ink. Okay. Then we can just click browse and we can upload them from our computer, right? So if we got them signed in ink, we sent them to the scanner. We've got those hard copies. We've scanned them in. And now we are, let me see, this would be an offer. I'm just trying to find a document for us to upload. There we go. Oh, it's being difficult with me. I'm just going to grab one. So we would upload it right here, right? That's just uploading it from your computer. You can remove it if you need to.
If you were uploading it from excuse me, from Dotloop, would it show us Dotloop? Because I didn't see it.
Yeah, well, it's not there because I didn't connect it to,
Okay.
right? I haven't connected this to either e-signature platform yet.
Okay.
But if I had connected it to Dotloop, yes, you would be able to change this from my
Right.
computer to Dotloop
Gotcha.
or my computer to Docusign, depending on which e-signature platform you used. And then it would be connected and you'd be able to pull the documents in from there. Does that
Okay.
make sense?
Yes.
Perfect. Anybody have any questions? I'm just going to put 2 documents here so you can see what it would look like. Obviously, you would put the correct document. The working with real estate agents is what goes here. Buyer agency is what goes there. Now you have this button up at the top to submit these documents to the market center. Okay. So that's what we would do. That's what we should do within 72 hours is submit these documents to the market center. Okay. So then what's going to happen is they're either going to get approved or they are going to get returned. And I want to show you what that looks like. So if they get returned or approved, up here in your bell icon at the top, you're going to see something that says your compliance documents were approved, your compliance documents were returned. Okay. You're also going to get an email from the address compliance app, and it's going to say your compliance request has been returned because it needs updates, right? And so then you can click on the button. It's going to take you directly to that opportunity so that you can replace the documents that are messed up or incorrect or missing a signature or missing an initial, right?
Mhm.
Is it a pain? Yep. And it's for your own protection. I promise you that. I came from another firm to KW 6 years ago. And when I first had to start turning all these documents in, I was like, oh my gosh. And it is to protect us and keep us out of real estate jail, right? There's not really real estate jail, but there's a lot of hefty fines. I don't want to pay them. I don't want to get an envelope, a little brown envelope, right? So the compliance officers are here to protect you. Your broker in charge is here to protect you. And this is one of the ways that we do that. So please make sure that you're turning your documents in. Right now is a critical time. It is May 24th. What happens at the end of June, July 1st? What happens? Does anybody know?
Your license expire.
Yes, and what else? We get all new forms
Oh, yeah.
that take us from 2022 to 2023. So guess what? You get a little grace period when that turnover happens, right?
Mhm.
But if on July 1st, you write an offer on the 2021 contract and it goes past the contract term, goes past that allowance, you're going to have to get all new forms signed. There is nothing worse. And trust me, I have seen it happen where somebody has written their contracts on the expired documents. They think they're all done. They haven't turned anything into the office. So no one has seen these documents. And then the day that they get their commission check, they turned everything in at one time. All of it had to get re-signed on the updated documents for a buyer who had just closed, who was in a moving truck at their home, having all their new stuff moved in. Do you think anybody in that situation was happy?
Monica, I wanted to ask you a question.
Yes.
When we are doing this and submitting it to the MC, is it best, say for instance, if we have all the forms done, but we realize that we've left, something off, and so we're having to redo it. Is it best to go ahead and submit what you have, knowing, even though you may know that you've got to correct something yourself and you're in the process of it?
If that's,
Or do you wait until you have, you wait till you have the kind of that done and then submit them?
number one, it's up to your market center, right? I am not the person that checks compliance. So that is a
Right.
specific market center question. And I would make the assumption they would rather have the documents. And then what you can do is you can click this add a comment button. Keep in mind, this is a Winston-Salem office. If
Right.
you click the @ symbol, it pulls up your whole leadership team.
Oh, okay.
So I could say, like, this is my broker in charge in Winston. I could say, Stephen, I forgot to get the lead-based paint signed. I'm getting it done this afternoon,
Gotcha.
blah, 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 blah. And I'll upload it then. But here's the rest of my forms,
Okay.
right? Something to that effect. Okay.
Gotcha.
But our goal is, y'all, is that once we have our consultation done and we've submitted this, it's approved, we don't really need to come back into this folder. We now get to move forward to our under contract folder and we can work from here. So now we need to go get the MLS sheet. We need to turn in our offer to purchase, our receipt of monies, property disclosures, MOG, lead-based paint if we need it. Everything has notes, right? So the lead-based paint, when do we need that? I know y'all know your real estate agents. When do we need a lead-based paint?
1978 or before.
Oh, later.
Good.
Yeah, before.
Perfect. So right here, guess what? You need a LBP signed by the buyer, seller, and agent if the property was built before 1978. There's your note. That's what that little I is for. So you're going to see some of these documents say they are required. Some of them say they are conditional. MLS sheet, conditional. Why? Not every listing goes into the MLS, right? But if the property is listed in the multiple listing service, you must upload the MLS sheet. Okay. Offer to purchase required. Receipt required, right? Residential property disclosure, only exempt if this is a foreclosure. It's got a note. Mineral oil and gas, only exempt if it's this, right? So it's got notes there for you. And again, if it's underlined, I'm the one now in all three offices that's going to go in and get all the new forms and put them in here for you. So you'll see right now, you're looking at the 2021 versions. Once the new forms come out, the first thing I'm going to do is come in here and put all fresh forms into these underlined places for you in all 3 market centers. Okay. Because a lot of people just have to grab one on the go and print it out. A lot of people, sellers don't want to fill out the residential property disclosure in Docusign. They want to do it in ink. So then you can just grab it and print it out. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Okay, great. So the goal is we have our consultation folder, we turn everything in, it gets approved, we go under contract, we get everything signed, we turn that in, it gets approved, we get to the closing date, then we only have to upload these handful of forms, right? And we have to make sure we've done our offers and commissions, which we're going to look at in just a second. And if all that's been done, that's how we can get paid the fastest. If you wait until closing day and you turn in your consultation forms, your under contract forms, and your closing forms all at the same time, I want you to think about this. If a compliance officer has 100 opportunities to check through, and 80 of those opportunities have their stuff in order, and 20 did everything all at one time, which ones are they going to check first? I mean, it's right. They're going to check the ones that did it correctly first and then get to the ones later. I mean, that's just good planning of your time, right? Because the other ones are going to take longer. Okay. So just keep that in mind when you're turning stuff in. Make sure you turn it in as you go, because that way, if there is an error, if there is a missing initial, if anything is missing, it can get addressed right then instead of waiting and prolonging it out and then going, oh my God, we're closed. And I didn't even know that there was a lead-based paint on this and we never got it signed, or whatever it is, right? Or I'm missing signatures or initials or whatever. That's just not a fun thing to go through. So does anybody have any questions about turning in our documents? Anybody at all? Okay. Each folder has its own comment symbols or chats, right? Because the goal is consultation's done. I asked my broker in charge some questions in my consultation, but now I'm under contract. So I'm now asking them questions here, right? So you can see if I'm under here, sorry, Stephen. Oops. We'll make him laugh today because he's probably going to be like, I'm going to kill you. All right, I'm going to copy that. So if I send that to Stephen, now you can see that this has a little chat bubble next to it, but then we go under contract and then I do it again because I had a question about my under contract folder, right? I can @Stephen again. And now that has its own little chat bubble. So it's a great way that you can ask questions, right? When you get responses, they're going to show up here in your bell icon. Okay. Everybody feeling good? I see no questions in the chat. Okay, we're going to move into offers and commissions. Diane, this is where we need to be looking here. It's okay if this went under contract a long time ago. That doesn't matter. You're not like submitting an offer to anybody. You're just putting it into the system. So we're just going to, you know, in your case, it's an accepted offer. And we're going to click create offer. And you're going to say, we made the offer on whatever date you made the offer. And the closing date is on, for this one, July 14th. Yours is probably soon. Here's that other spot that we can add a listing. We can select it from the KWLS. Okay. Right now it's showing only my listings, which I don't really have listings. These are just tests. You can change it to all listings, especially if it's your buyer, it wouldn't be your listing, right? And this was that listing that we're using. So I can come up here and put that address in and search for it. Here it is, right? I'm going to click select. And now I have this tied to that property. Okay, so that's the first step. We've entered our offer details. We're going to move forward to parties. Does anybody have any questions on this screen? And is anybody actually with me? Because everybody has their cameras off.
I'm here.
Perfect. All right, we're going to move forward to parties. Now you're going to see that Command knows that Dakota Perry was my buyer, that this was his email, that this is his phone number, that I am the agent, that this is my email. It knows that Ashley, because I connected it with KWLS, is the agent on the other side, and that is her email and that is her phone number. Okay. Anything with a red asterisk has to be filled in. So I need the name of the seller. So I can look on my MLS sheet. It is Sophia Johnson. So I'm cool with just putting Johnson. You can put as much in here as you want. Really, you and your market center administrator are the only ones that see this. So if you want to go in and put more information, that's fine, but you're only required to put what has a red asterisk. And then we're going to move forward by clicking terms down here at the bottom. Okay. Here's where we're going to put in the terms of the offer. Again, not all of this is required. The only thing you really have to have is the total sales price. So if I didn't feel like breaking it down, I could just say they paid $350. You see that populates the total sales price. That final number is all that really matters. But if I'm a highly detail oriented person, which I'm not gonna, I am, but not a lot of agents are, and that's okay. So maybe it went more like this. They put $100,000 down and they paid, oh, I went backwards. Maybe it's more like they put $100,000 down and they paid $250 in financing. I still get $350,000 as my sales price. So as long as this number is correct, that's what matters. If you want to put in the fact that they did $2,000 worth of earnest money, great, you can, but you don't have to. If you want to put in the fact, what are these hideous due diligence amounts right now, like $20,000 or something crazy? Go ahead, Diane.
Monica, so that's where I was. You see where it says sales price? That's where I got up to, honestly. And when I tried to click in that box, it wouldn't allow me to put anything in there.
Yeah, because you have to put it over on this side. That's a total.
Okay, so I have to start with the
sales
cash
price is a total. You have to put the numbers in here.
Okay. Oh, I thought you said you could leave it blank as long as you could just put the sales price.
Yeah, I'm saying you can put it all on one side.
Uh-huh.
Like I could just say $350 in cash.
Right.
And get the total showing up over here, or I could put
Gotcha.
$350 in finance and still get the total over there, but you can't type it into the actual box because that
I think
box,
that's where okay, so I'll go back and visit that because I think that's where I was typing it. I'll see if I put it in one of the other boxes, if it will populate to the sales price.
Yep, 100%.
Okay. All righty.
All right, everybody good? So again, option fee is the same thing as due diligence. So if you want to put your due diligence fee in, you can do that, but you don't have to. It's not required. It's for your records, right? Termination option. Remember, y'all, due diligence is not in every state. So that's why it's named different things, but that is your due diligence period. So how long was your due diligence period if you want to put it in? Not that sellers are giving any closing costs or home warranties right now, but if they were, this is where you would put them in, right? I think I did hear somebody the other day say a seller gave $2,000 in closing costs and I about fell out of my chair. But nonetheless, if you were, this is where the home warranty would go. and below is where the closing costs paid by the seller would go. Okay, if you wanted to put them in, again, you don't have to. I'm going to tell you why all this stuff exists in here. If this was your listing, and I know we're all getting multiple offers in this market, you could put all of your offers in like this, and then you can make a comparison chart from this data that shows, these people are paying cash, these people are closing faster, these people are paying more, but it's finance, these people are doing this, but it's this, right? So it's going to make you a comparison chart. That's when this stuff really comes into play really nicely. So any questions on this before I move forward? Nothing? We're good? So we've done our agent, and now we're going to our agent analysis. Again, this is the pros and the cons and a summary of the offer. If this is your buyer, do you really need this? No. If this is your seller and you're comparing 5 offers, you might want to put the pros and the cons, right? And so that's it. Then we're going to click save. And this is a lot faster when you're not talking your way through it like I was, right? Okay. So now we have our offer in here, and we're going to click accept. Boop. And now that I've clicked accept, I can manage my commission by clicking that button, and it's going to show me a breakdown of my commission. So total commission, 10.5. Pay to the office, this much. Pay to royalty, this much. Company commission, my commission, gross, right? And then it shows me a breakdown of what would happen to my cap and all that kind of stuff here. If you're on a team, this is going to look different. If you're in productivity coaching, this is going to look different. If you had a referral on this, you're going to need to add that, and it's going to look a little bit different, right? And you can make all of those edits with editing general information and editing your agent payment. I don't want to deep dive too much into changing this stuff. If you ever come to that point and you're like, well, I had a referral, my family member in Texas is an agent and they sent me this piece of business and I need to pay them 25%. If you have a specific question like that, just come to one of us and ask us. Ask your MCA, ask me, ask somebody if you get to that point, because it's too much for me to cover. And I just want you guys to see the overall workflow of the whole thing, right? So again, we followed our path. We entered our contact, we created our opportunity. We went to the documents tab of the opportunity and we picked a checklist type from the left. We're either going to get our paperwork signed in person in ink, we're going to start a transaction in Docusign or start a transaction in Dotloop, facilitate our documents, get them signed. Then we're going to add them, right? We're on step 4. We're going to add our documents to their spot on the compliance checklist. We're going to click submit to Market Center and wait for that approval and or return. And then we can see if we need to fix anything. Okay. Then we're going to create the offer and accept it for either side of the transaction you're on. If it's your listing or if it's your buyer, you still need to create an offer and click accept. And then the commissions tab will become available for you to complete, turn into your Market Center administrator. Okay, so watch what happens now. Do I have any questions on what we just covered first? We're good. When I click submit, I'm going to get this pop up. So this is a new feature too. This is, do you want to make a donation to KW Cares or KW Kids Can? It defaults to $10. That does not mean that you have to give $10. Okay. You can skip the donation and submit it to the Market Center. You can donate the amount that's shown and submit it to the Market Center. But now we have this new feature where we can click this box, apply the same donation to all of my future commissions. If you're just getting started and you're not ready to take this on, click this box. Click this box. Then we're going to click the other button and we can put 0. And we can click the other button and put 0 right here. and it's going to apply the same donation to all of my future commissions. Okay, we're going to click donate and submit. It's at $0, but that's still what we need to do to confirm that. Or maybe you're comfortable giving $1, and that's fine, right? We're leading with revenue. So maybe you're like, I would love to help more, but I just can't. But I will give $1 to each one each time that I have a closing. Then you could do that. You can always go back and edit it later. Okay. But this will save you from running into this pop-up every single time that you're submitting a commission, if you want to do that. Or you can always just click skip and donate, or pick your amount for this transaction. Maybe you got 3 back to back and you're like, yeah, I can give right now, whatever's for your business. Any questions on that? Yes, please donate. I agree, Diane. If we can, always, we should try to donate, right? Okay. Questions? Does this help you guys? I get so many questions on opportunities. Somebody give me a yes or something in the chat. Something. You guys are so quiet today. Okay, good. Well, I hope that this is helping you guys. Just remember, follow the path. Don't forget to ask questions. It's okay to ask questions. If I'm teaching, obviously, I'm not going to answer the phone if you call me. But if you text me as soon as I'm done teaching, I can look down and answer the question. Or you can use the @ symbol in the opportunity itself to ask a question. Okay? So just remember that. Follow your path. If you're a super duper detail-oriented person, if you learn better by reading as opposed to watching the videos on your respective sites, right? kwtriadtech.com and kwtriangletech.com. There's an extended workflow that I created. All I did was take answers.kw.com articles that I've shown you guys before, and I copied them and made a whole giant long thing. It's just this all the way expanded with like links and videos and all the things, right? So I try to give you guys as many resources as I can that fit the way that you like to learn. And this one includes Docusign, okay? Like I said, I don't ever like to, I know I've got some people that like Dotloop, and so I teach what KW gives us, and KW gives us Docusign. So takes you through all of the steps, okay? And while we're hanging out here, I did in fact update the left-hand side of both websites. May 2020 bootcamp videos can now be found here by clicking on the blue button. It's going to bring you right into the YouTube playlist for this month's bootcamp. So today's video will go up later this afternoon. It'll be right here, so on and so forth for the rest of the week. This is where they will be. Good. Any questions on the path? Nothing, nothing, nothing. Okay. So let's look quickly at some stuff that's in opportunities that I think is really cool that a lot of people don't use. Okay. So number one, this is your opportunities applet. The green pipeline is your listings. The orange pipeline is your buyers. Okay. Each one of these phases has a percentage of probable income tied to it. So when you're in Cultivate, you have about 5% chance of closing that deal. When you're in appointment, it goes up. When it goes to active, it goes up. Under contract, it goes up higher. Close, it's 100% chance that you're going to make that commission. Okay. So the potential income calculated over on the right is the total volume times the commission. If everything closed for 100%, that is how much money you would stand to make. The probable income is adjusted based on each stage's probability to close. Same for your buyer. If you're wild and crazy enough to live in the world of leases, you have a purple pipeline for that. We don't run into a lot of that in North Carolina. You know, some of the other places around the country does run into a lot of leases. But it's there for you if you want to use it. Okay. Down at the bottom, we have our ratios of listings, buyers, and leases. And then at the very bottom, we have deals that are closing this month with the list of their commission, their closing date, the amount, right? All of those things. Okay. So that's kind of an overview of this. Now, we also have an all opportunities tab, which I love. If you create lots of opportunities like I do, because I have 374 of them, which you might compile, you know, year over year. Mine is from doing a lot of testing, but nonetheless, I do not feel like culling through 374 opportunities. So from the all opportunities tab, I have the ability to search by address, the opportunity name, the assignee, which if you're on a team, that means the person that's assigned to make the transaction, the contact that the transaction is associated to. I also have some filters, right? I'm in 3 market centers, so I can filter between my 3 market centers. I can include archived opportunities. I can include, I just want to look at my listings. I just want to look at my buyers, what phase they're in, right? Tags, I told you guys about tags, close date and date range. So I've got those filters available, which I like. I do want to talk to you guys a little bit about those things. So this is that one that got returned to me. I clicked on view opportunity and it brought me to that specific opportunity. So you can see this folder got returned. So I see the red here. I see the red returned. I have a chat box, right? What does that chat box say? Why is it returned, right? So this was just a test to show you guys. This could say, you know, you were supposed to have uploaded this instead, or this is missing an initial, or whatever the case is. This, however, got approved, okay? So this one's fine, but I need to fix this. So I'm going to come over here to the far right and click the 3 dots and click update. Why am I re-uploading? You know, I used the wrong document. I used the wrong form. I missed an initial, whatever it is. Where am I bringing it in from? Docusign, my computer, right? And then I can pick it and then I can click update and it's going to replace that document. It's going to turn purple. And then I'm going to click resubmit to the market center so that it can get approved if something was wrong with it. Does that make sense? So that's how you can replace documents that got returned to you. Any questions on that? Ready? Good? Okay. So the other thing I want to show you guys is the checklist in here. So this is a little bit of the lighter side of opportunities. You have checklists. Okay. So if you're in any specific opportunity, you'll see it up at the top. But also when you're in this pipeline view, if I click on any phase, remember our phases are unchanging. They are always cultivate, appointment, active, under contract, and close. But within each one of these phases, I can have my own personalized stages. Okay. So I'm under active listings right now. I'm going to come into the upper right corner and click edit stages. Under active, these are the stages that I have added for my business. It comes with a couple. It comes with staging, showing, I think negotiations and legacy. But you can add a stage. You can delete a stage by clicking the delete button over here on the side. So maybe I don't want that one. I can just delete that. Okay. Each one of these has checklists. So when I'm staging a home, I want to make sure that I put a sign at the house, that I put a home warranty rider on the sign if I need it, that I'm putting out my lender sign if I'm using one. I put the lockbox on, I get the photographs done, I get my marketing materials created, I put the property in the MLS, the disclosures, blah, 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 right? I have all these things that I need to do for this transaction. So I can add those here in a checklist. And I can choose if I want these to come through as a client update or not. If you're going to have them come through as a client update, you want to make sure that your verbiage matches what you would want your client to see. Okay? Because what's going to happen is if you check off that you completed something in that checklist and the client checklist box is checked, then your client is going to receive an email that looks like this. Dakota Perry, we're checking things off the list. Here's a summary of tasks we completed for your listing at Archer Road. We posted it on social media. We dropped off your marketing materials. We, XYZ, right? We did all of these things. So that is a super underutilized feature in Command that a lot of agents actually love once they find out it exists. I don't fudge with you guys. I don't sugarcoat. Does it take time to set it up? Yes, it does, right? I've done my best to make it as easy as possible for you. I have a there we go. I have a spreadsheet. This was not mine. I got this from George Kelly, but he's in Texas and we're in North Carolina. So I updated it to reflect North Carolina stuff on George's form. So I have, I'm going to share this with you guys. I'm going to actually just put it onto this sheet. Just give me one sec, because you guys already have the sheet. So I'm going to copy that and move over here. And I'm going to go to right there. Monica's opportunity checklist. Okay, so now you have this checklist for yourself. And so essentially all I did was edit everything that George had. If you don't have 2 computer screens and you're in real estate, I recommend that you get one. Like, you can just plug it into a TV, but it makes your life a lot easier if you can, move stuff around when you're looking at stuff. And you don't have to spend a lot of money on it. But essentially what I did is say, okay, this is my listing checklist. The buyer's down here at the bottom, and I'm in my listing checklist under active. Okay. So I'm going to come into my staging checklist. I'm going to come to the bottom and click add item. I'm going to come over here to the item I need to add and click copy. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to click paste and save. You're going to hear me say a lot this week. Buckle up with your favorite beverage and your favorite music, and just sit back and copy and paste this or do this or do this. They are systems that take a little bit of time to set up, but you get to use them over and over and over again, right? That's what makes them advantageous to you and your time. So if you're on a team, your Rainmaker might have already done this, so you won't have to do this, right? Because it'll apply to all of the team opportunities. But if you're an individual agent, do you have to do this? No, you don't have to do anything in Command except for turn in your documents and request to get paid, right? That's all you got to do. All the other stuff is stuff that KW has provided to you, that I'm providing a place for you to learn how to do it. You don't have to do any of the other stuff, but I always like to show you what's available. Okay, so checklists are really cool. I like those a lot. That means that any opportunity that drops into the staging listing is going to have that checklist automatically added to it. Okay, so you can see right here, Dakota has 3 of 15 checklist items completed. Now, if you want these checklist items to show up as a task for you, okay, you need to give it a due date in the opportunity, because every opportunity is going to be different. Maybe I'm dropping the lockbox at this house this afternoon. at 4, right? Then I can go ahead and do that. Now that is going to show up as a task for me to do this afternoon. Okay. I'm going to get notified in the command app. I'm going to get notified on my desktop. Good. And last, but certainly not least, we can switch between list view and board view if you're more of a list view person. The tags, you can see how those look at a glance. You can choose whatever tags for your opportunities you want, whether it's, their luxury, they're downsizing, they're moving up, blah, 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 blah. They came from Business Networking International. They came from my sphere. They came from a referral. Randall Perry is doing the closing. Drew Brennan's doing the home inspection. Whatever you want it to look like, it's your system to do with it as you want. But you can add those tags just like we looked at the tags and contacts yesterday. And hopefully, really quickly, my phone will cooperate and I'm going to show you opportunities in the app. Remember, this is first iteration of opportunities in the app. It's going to do nothing but grow and get bigger and better and faster and more streamlined and all those things. This is just the first iteration of it. I'm glad that you love it, Diane. So we're going to hope that my phone wants to cooperate with me. Today was being a little bit of a bear yesterday. We'll turn it on Do Not Disturb so you guys don't get bombarded with text messages. So let's try this one more time. Just bear with me. I'm going to click on Smart View. We're going to hope that pops up. Get all this out of the way. And hopefully it's going to go. Then we're going to take a break and then we're going to come back and look at Docusign. Try one more time. If it doesn't work this time, we're just, okay, good. So in our command app, right, we can add contacts just like we looked at yesterday. Diane and I spoke yesterday through the app and I got to take notes, right? I told you guys about that yesterday, helping with commissions. That's what me and Diane were talking about. I'm gonna click save. So I can add contacts. I can do all kinds of stuff. I teach whole classes on the app of what you can do, but a lot of it's very similar to command. So you can add contacts on the go and and you can manage your tasks, right? Which is really cool. So here are my people tasks. Here are my opportunity tasks. So what did we add earlier that I needed to go by and put the lockbox at the house? There that is, that's due today. That's the one that we just added from the desktop, right? But from our home screen here, there's 2 ways we can add opportunities on the go in the command app. From the home screen, we can hit the plus button. We can add a contact, a task, or an opportunity. And then I'm going to have to go through and click everything that I want to add, right? I'm going to give it a name, pick my contact, et cetera, et cetera. Or I can go to my contacts, right? And from my contact, when I'm inside of my actual contact, I have an opportunities tab at the top. It shows me any previous opportunities that I've had with him. I can also hit the plus button and go ahead and say that Dakota is going to list this property. Then it knows that it was Dakota, right? So 2 ways to add it: from our home screen with the plus button. Then we have to select who the contact is, or from the contact itself, we can add it under the opportunities tab with the plus button. Then it knows who the contact is. Does that make sense? Any questions? Awesome. I haven't downloaded it yet. We'll work on some of these. Great. Yeah, I love the app. It's super, super useful. And it's going to do nothing but get better, y'all, right? I think we're only on like version 1.3 right now. So this is just going to get better and better, just like every piece of technology does. It's going to get smarter. Docusign knows that the number one thing we're asking for is better mobility, better ability to be mobile with Docusign. They get it. They've heard us. They're building it. That's the cool thing about our technology is these companies are actually partnering with us. I'm on a small group of agents across the country that are working with Docusign engineering to tell them what we want, right? And they are listening to us. So hopefully in 2022, we're going to see some improvements to that. But that being said, we're going to take a 5-minute break. If you want to stay and hang out and see Docusign, please do. I get lots of questions on Docusign. We're going to walk through that. If you're a dotloop user, feel free to go ahead and exit unless you want to learn more about Docusign, then you're welcome to stay. But either way, I hope that this really helps you guys. The video will get up this afternoon. Please ask me if you have questions, guys. Don't wait until you're super frustrated before you just reach out to me via text, and I'm happy to help you. So for any of you that have to leave, I'll see you later. Tomorrow, website, mobile app, and forget those of you that are staying, I'll see you back here in 5 minutes. Thank you.
Monica, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
I missed yesterday and I apologize for that. And so does that mean that every session is recorded that I could access it?
Yes, ma'am. I
And how
record
do I
everything.
access it?
Yeah. So when you go to your resources website, are you Chapel Hill, Winston-Salem, or Greensboro?
Greensboro.
Yep. So if you go to kwtriadtech.com, that's my resources site for you guys. So that's kwtriadtech.com. Over here on the left-hand side, it says Command Bootcamp, and you just click the blue button. It takes you straight to the YouTube playlist, and that's where all of the videos will get placed.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay. You're so welcome. I'll see you guys back in 5. Okay, welcome back to the second half of today's class, where we are going to take a look at Docusign. Again, we're going to reference back to the path to get paid, right? So we skipped over the Docusign piece earlier for those that use dotloop, but I want to show you where it would fit in is number 3 on your path to get paid. So we've entered our contact, we've created our opportunity, we've gone to our documents tab, we picked a checklist type, that's super important, and now we're going to start our transaction in Docusign. Somebody tell me in the chat that you're back with me, so I know that everybody's here. All right, very good. So let's go to all opportunities. We created one earlier right here, and we didn't connect it to Docusign, right? Because we skipped over that piece. So same thing, we added our contacts, we created our opportunity, we went to our documents tab, we came to the left, and we picked a checklist type. We added these just to show how to upload from your computer. Okay. So now step 3, right? Step 3, start a transaction. So we're going to come into the upper right corner-ish. If you guys have your Zoom picture over top of this, you might not see it, but we're here, we're in our consultation folder. We've picked our checklist type, which is residential. So we see our teal DS next to the forms that are required of our transaction, right? And we're going to click the Start a Transaction button. We're going to choose Docusign. If you don't use dotloop, but it's showing up, just disconnect it because a lot of people get confused. If you connect it to the wrong one, you can't undo it. You have to create a new opportunity. So make sure that you're picking the right one or just discarding the other one that you don't use. This is going to open a Docusign window. Okay, if you don't see Docusign open, okay, if you clicked start a transaction and you did not see Docusign automatically open, it is because you have a pop-up blocker turned on. So up here in your URL bar, which is this, on the right-hand side of it, you will see a little red X that means it's blocking a pop-up. So you will need to click on it and say allow pop-ups, and that won't happen for you anymore. But if it did happen in the onset, you can come back here after you disabled that pop-up blocker, and you can click go to transaction, and that will open it for you then. Okay, so now we're going to log into Docusign. Once we are here, hold on, I was logged into somebody else earlier. I was helping David. I don't want to be David right now. I want to be Monica. And yes, I do not have multiple personality disorders. If you guys ever need me to log into your system to fix something for you, I'm happy to do so. But nonetheless, let's try that again. I'm going to click on go to transaction, and it is going to open hopefully my Docusign account and not David's. Perfect. Now you can see Dakota Perry, buyer, May BootCamp is linked to Docusign. Dakota Perry, buyer, May BootCamp. Since I had the address in command, remember we added the address here under our details tab. In Docusign, it already has the address. Okay. Docusign has a details tab as well. So when you come in here, you can click edit. And in our MLS sheet, we had the sellers. It was Sophia Johnson. Okay. So I could take that and put it as seller 1. Because there's a spot on an offer to purchase for that seller's name. So this will make it fill in for me. Okay. I can add all kinds of stuff in here that I might want to add. Offer dates, contract amounts. The contract amount came over from that budget field that I put in command. I can say that the earnest money is going to be $2,000. I can say that Randall Terry Law LLC, we are not related, but we do like to say that we are long lost cousins because we like each other because we're buddies. But we're going to say he's going to hold my earnest money. Okay. I can say that my folks are using conventional. Wow, they have Bitcoin added in there now. Woo, 2022, y'all. I can put contract dates, offer dates, all kinds of stuff in here. Okay. But what you're going to notice, I added Sophia as seller 1. But I'm going to come down. Who's the listing agent? It was Ashley Way. Okay. So if I wanted to put all of Ashley Lay's stuff in here, then I could do that too, because it's going to go where? At the bottom of the offer to purchase. Okay, I already know that. I know Ashley's there. I know her company name. I know her address, etc. I just want to show you guys where you can enter this stuff in. Docusign is working towards an MLS integration that is going to make it where we don't have to fill this stuff in. We're not there quite yet. So for right now, put it in your details tab. So listing agent 1, right? Who's the buyer's agent? I am. I think because it glitched out and didn't add, because I was in David's account earlier, I forgot to log out. It didn't add Dakota. And I'm not going to add Sasha because it'll make our signing process a little bit longer. But there you go. Normally Dakota's info would have come in. I apologize for that. It kind of glitched in between the 2 accounts there. So you can see under my documents tab, all of those documents that had the DS next to them populated into the Docusign room, right? My offer. These are some office specific documents, right? Each one of us might have some affiliated business disclosures or agent disclosures. Those should all be mapped for you so that you don't have to go through and add them. There you go. They're there. Okay. So now, sidebar, you can set up Docusign templates. And if we have time, I will show you at the end of the class how to do that. Okay. I already have my template set up. So if I do get a chance to show you, great. If not, look for Docusign tips, tricks, and time savers on my YouTube channel. It'll show you all the stuff that you can do. Okay. But I have one. So I'm going to right click my exclusive buyer agency agreement and apply the form template that I already have that exists. I'm going to pick it. I'm going to apply it. I'm going to right click my offer. I'm going to apply the form template I've made for my offer and apply it. Okay. Now, watch what's cool. Those templates had my name, my license number, my email address, my phone number, because they're in the exclusive buyer agency. So now when I open this working with real estate agents, I didn't apply a form template here. Remember, I only applied it to my offer and my buyer agency. But those had my name and my license number and my firm name already there. Okay. The address of the property populated from the details that came over from Docusign. So now I know in my specific office, I'm supposed to check all 4 of those boxes and then click Save and Close. Under the Documents tab, which is where we're currently hanging out, right? We're in the Documents tab. We're adding our text. We're not adding signatures. We're not answering questions for clients like on disclosures. They are supposed to answer those. We are simply opening our documents and filling in the needed text. Okay. So Dakota Perry came in. My company came in. I need to put today's date in. A lot of agents forget this date. Y'all don't forget that date. That's the date you're entering into this contract. All of this stuff that's already filled in, that all came in from my template. Okay. So most of the time, if it happens more than 50% of the time, I put it in my template. Right. I've set up so many different templates that, but what this usually says for me is for Forsyth, Davidson, Davie, and Stokes counties, because those are really the only counties that I worked in when I was actively selling. Usually my buyers are only buying a single property, right? And I'm going to have this expire 6 months out. I'm just going to say 12/31/2022. Okay. I don't do a retainable, a non-refundable retainer fee. So I have 0 in my template. This is the amount of commission I always expect to get: 3% on a resale, 2.5% of new construction, 5% on the purchase of land. That way I don't have to change it, right? They're all in there. Okay. Whatever your magic number is in this box, I had mine in my template already. I already had all of these checked off. I already had NA checked on the home warranty. If I wanted to put any additional provisions in, I could slide through. Again, we're not handling signatures or initials. Right now, you need to put in your dual agency compensation, or it might be in your template. And here you go. There's my client. There's his email. Done, done. And here is all of my information. This is my old template with our old address on it, but nonetheless, there you go. I didn't have to type any of that stuff in because it came from my template. I'm going to save. Okay. You guys would only have one template because you wouldn't have shown people how to do it over and over again. So now I'm going to open my offer to purchase. Okay. Remember, I applied in a template here too. So it pulled in the seller from the details. It pulled in my client from the details. It pulled in the address that came over from command. I need to add all of my tax information. Once we get that MLS integration, it should start populating that for us. It knows that the purchase price was 350. The earnest money amount that I put in there was 2,000. I think you guys are paying like astronomical due diligence fees right now, if I'm not mistaken. So I'll match the market of the moment with this number and put in 15,000. And I will say that this is by, official bank check, and my earnest money is by official bank check, right? Got my total populated down there. I'm just going to slide through. There's Randall. He came in from my details tab, right, as the escrow agent. Can put in my due diligence period. I think we're trying to close on the 14th, so maybe 06/2022 is my due diligence period. Settlement date was 07/14/2022. Keep sliding through. We're just going to fill in all of the text, any personal property, right? That stuff's coming from my template, and these people were going to go conventional, so I can fill all that stuff in. They do not have to sell another property, right? I already had those checked off on my templates because I always give my buyers a copy when we're signing an offer. Okay. Usually sellers have owned the property for at least a year, so that was already in my template. This property was not built prior to 1978, so I don't need to add a lead-based paint, right? I can go ahead and say this is going to be written to Dakota James Perry. No settlement cost, no home warranty, no buyer possession before closing. None of this is happening. Don't need any of it. When I come down to the bottom here, you're going to see that stuff I added for Ashley in the details. Again, once we get the MLS added into Docusign, that should start populating that listing agent for you. And my stuff is from my template, so I'm going to save and close. So any questions about what we're doing? We're under our Documents tab. We added some stuff in details. Some stuff came from Command. Some stuff came from our Details tab. Some stuff came from our templates. And then anything residual, we're opening the document, we're filling in the text, and we're clicking Save and Close. Any questions on that? Now is the time, y'all. I get lots of questions on Docusign. Okay. So I want to show you guys, because I get asked this question a lot too. What about my disclosures? Well, if you're in the MLS, most of your listings are going to have those disclosures attached. So you just go into the listing, you click that little blue box. So here's their NCRPD. I'm going to download it. I'm going to save it to my desktop in a folder called May BootCamp Docusign, so I know what it was from. Okay, so this was the NCRPD. I think you guys call it RPODs now. I always just called it the NCRPD. And now I need to have the MOG. So I'm going to download that. Again, there's no lead-based paint, so I don't need that. But obviously, I would download those other two documents for my clients to review. One was a beltway proximity map and something else in there. Okay, so now I have those documents because I'm going to have to get those signed as well. Any questions thus far? See anything in the chat? Okay, great. So for this go round, because I am going to submit this offer today, I want to get my working with real estate agent signed. I want to get my exclusive buyer agency signed, and I'm going to get my offer signed. A lot of times you're just going to get working with real estate agents and the buyer agency signed because you haven't found a property yet, right? I always recommend getting agency signed prior to going out and showing property, getting our agency signed and pre-approval documentation, right? But for the sake of time, we're going to say we're getting all 3 of these signed. Okay, so I've clicked them. I could also upload those documents from my computer, those disclosures that we just got. Okay. And oh, I wasn't on my desktop. I was like, what? May BootCamp. So here's those 2 disclosures that I need to get signed as well. I'm going to put them in there. So I'm going to go ahead and get those signed alongside these other documents. Note the difference. This says PDF in the corner. This says form in the corner. Okay. Any questions? I'm going to click this pin up on my toolbar. Notice when I don't have anything selected, I don't have a toolbar. As soon as I pick a document, it shows up. So I can just choose what I'm signing. And then I'm going to click the pin to get signatures. If you take nothing else away from this section of today's class, if you're taking notes, if you're on YouTube watching us, stop and write this down. When we go to get signatures, we are going to use pre-tagged roles, asterisks, highlighters, pre-tagged roles. Just want to give you that note. So this is going to be the Perry's offer and buyer docs. I always like to name my envelope so I know what's in there. I love that we can reorder these from here. I actually want them to sign the working with real estate agents first, and then their buyer agency next, and then their offer. And then I want them to sign the North Carolina residential property disclosure and their mineral oil and gas rights. Okay. Here's the spot, y'all. We're adding the people from pre-tagged roles. We're going to click it. These are the people that exist on the forms that are getting signed. We are only selecting the people that we are having sign today. We are not the listing agent. The listing agent's going to get their people to sign. We are the buyer's agent in this instance, and we are going to get the buyers to sign. And we have to sign because our buyer agency agreement is in here. So buyer 1 is signing, and buyer 1 is Dakota. If I had buyer 2 in here, buyer 2 would be signing. For the sake of time, I didn't do that. The buyer agent is signing, and that's me. Okay. Seller 1, seller 2, buyer 2, nope. Buyer entity, nope. Seller entity, nope. The listing agent's not signing. Escrow agent's not signing right now. Okay. Any questions on pre-tagged roles? I'm going to click add. They're going to show up right here. These are the 2 folks that are signing today. I can write a happy little email. I'm so excited to present this offer for you. Whatever that email is down here at the bottom. And then I'm going to click next. The reason we use these pre-tagged roles is because when we move forward, all of our initials, signatures, dates, all of that stuff is put into the correct spot for us if it is a Docusign form. We looked at the difference between form and PDF. Okay. Since this document was made in Docusign, Docusign knows that this is where the buyer's signature goes and this is where the buyer's date goes. We didn't have a second buyer to go in the middle. And I don't sign this as the agent, right? Only the buyer signs it. So there's no need for me to sign it. In this preview window on the right, you see 1 blue tag, like if you were getting legal documents signed, and that is because there is 1 person signing the working with real estate agents. On the exclusive buyer agency, if I expand out that preview, there's 2 tags. Why? Because the buyer is signing and I am signing as the agent. Okay, so everything is where it goes. One place to note is page 4 of your buyer agency agreement. Page 4. Okay. This also applies on a listing agreement. There are several spots there. Notice the difference between the initials next to these authorizations of dual agency. They are hollow, whereas these are filled in solid, because these are set to be optional. So if I click it over here, you can see it is not made required. If I click this one, it is checked that it's required. Okay. This can confuse people, and I'm going to show you why. I'm going to click preview in the upper right corner of my Docusign screen. We get to interact with these documents just like we are the buyer. We are currently viewing as our buyer. So when they get the email, this is what it's going to look like. They're going to say Docusign, Monica wants you to sign. They're going to click, they're going to come here, they're going to click start, and they're going to go, cool, I'm going to sign this. I'm going to initial here. I'm going to initial here. And now pay attention when I go from page 3. It took me right over the top of those optional initials straight to this one that's required. So if you're like me, if your client's like me, they're not even going to see those initials because they're going to go click, 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 click all the way through it. If you have a personality like that's more detailed, they're going to read every single line and they're going to get down here and go, huh, act as a dual agent, exclusive representation. I want exclusive representation. Well, guess what? This listing is listed by an agent in my office. So she can't have exclusive representation because my office is representing both sides of the transaction, right? So that would be wrong. Then you're going to turn this in and your compliance officer is going to say, hold up now, this is a listing from our office and they checked that they wanted exclusive representation at all times and we can't act as dual agents. Then that's wrong. You're going to have to take it back to the buyer, explain to them why, and get it redone. So instead of doing that, have the conversation up front about dual agency, what it means, what its parameters are. Is dual agency okay with you? Our firms list more homes in the area than any other firms. There's a high likelihood that you're going to go through a listing that is listed by my firm, right? More than likely that client is going to be agreeable to that. And if they are, we're going to click on dual agency. We're going to come to the right and make it required. We are not doing exclusive representation. So I've highlighted that. I'm going to delete. I'm going to highlight designated agent unless I'm using it, and I'm going to delete that too. So that takes the ambiguity out of it. Now look at the preview. When they go to sign, start, I signed, 3 to 4, boop. Ooh, took me right to dual agency. We talked about that. Cool. Sign, sign, sign. They're going to keep running through to get the signatures done and everything will be peachy keen, right? So just pay attention to that on page 4 of buyer agency. So we'll just keep sliding through. You're going to see everybody's signatures and dates are all in the right spots. Here's my signature and date. All this looks good, right? Same thing on the offer, buyer's initials, all those fun things are right where they should be. Now, we're going to get down into these PDFs that we uploaded the disclosures, right? So if I go to this first page of this disclosure, this did not come out of my Docusign account, okay? So Docusign doesn't have a way to map this because it wasn't from my account. There was just a PDF that I uploaded into the account, okay? So what I want to do is come over to the left. I want to make sure I'm operating as the buyer, and my buyer needs to sign this PDF right here. And then I need them to date right there. I'm going to move forward to my next page. This is an initial right here and a date. This is an initial and a date. But guess what, y'all? If you did not use pre-tagged roles, this is what you would be doing on every page before this. You'd be dragging and dropping. Pre-tagged roles is what makes it fill into the system for you so that you're not put in a position of dragging and dropping over every single initial and date and signature. Because I promise it's not fun. Now we're going to take an initial right here. Little quick tip, you can resize it if it's too large. Another quick tip, you can right click it, copy it, right click it, paste it to the location. Or you can right click and just paste and it's just going to drop wherever. But if you right click and paste to location, it's going to paste where your cursor is hanging out. So you don't have to keep going back over to the left and dragging and dropping every single one. You can just right click and paste to location. Okay, so now their initials are there. Now they need to sign and they need to date right here. Cool. Any questions on this? You guys are awfully quiet. Let me know that you're still there.
So I did have one question. So I opened up Docusign and it might just be something small. I noticed, so yours said Docusign Rooms. Mine says Docusign e-signature. Are those two different locations that I need to log into, or?
They are two different sides of the same program. So if you went to Docusign.com, then you're going to be in Docusign e-signature.
Right.
So if I log in here, then mine will look like yours.
Okay.
But Docusign Rooms, and now it's going to like error out on me because but that's okay. Docusign Rooms is realestate.docusign.com.
Okay.
Okay. Realestate.docusign.com. But let me get back in here.
Oh, so I can still like access like all of the documents and all the
Yeah,
templates and
yeah,
everything.
but you always want to start in command first.
Okay.
Okay, so any agents you're talking to, Ian, they
Yes, ma'am.
always want to start in command first because that's how you link the two together. Remember, so we're Dakota Perry, Buyer May BootCamp, Dakota Perry, Buyer May BootCamp. It's linked together with Docusign. If
Yes,
you go to
ma'am.
Docusign first, you can't come back and link it later.
Okay.
It's got to start from command.
Okay. Awesome.
But once the link is created, then yes, you can go to realestate.docusign.com and access any other documents that are, that you're working with.
Okay.
Great question.
Thank you.
There's functionality in e-signature that we don't yet have in Rooms because Rooms is newer. And Docusign is working on that. One such example is in-person signing, not yet available in Rooms, but coming very, very soon. We can still use in-person signing. I don't have enough time to show it today, but it is in my Docusign tips, tricks, and time savers video. Just so you guys know, if you ever want to host in-person signing, meaning that you have your laptop like at the spot with you, and you want the digital signatures. I love digital signatures because they're so much neater, in my opinion, than handwriting documents. But nonetheless, that's a great question. Yes, you do have access to use the e-signature platform if you choose to use it for different things. But as far as the workflow for Docusign and command go, this is kind of the way to do it. All right, so any questions before I send this off? Nothing in the chat? Nobody unmuting? Cool, I'm gonna send it. It's gonna go to Dakota. I need to sign it as the agent on that buyer agency agreement. So after this finishes loading, okay, you're going to see it says it needs my signature right here in blue. So I'm going to click on it. I'm going to click sign. It's going to bypass that working with real estate agents because I don't sign that. Okay, I'm going to click continue. I'm going to click start. It's going to take me to that first page of buyer agency, and I'm going to sign, 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 sign. That was all I needed to sign as the agent. Okay, so I'm going to click finish. Dakota got an email from me that says, Monica Perry, please Docusign. Monica sent you a document to sign. If I had written a message in that email section of my envelope, it would be showing up down here. And now Dakota is going to click review documents. Okay. Okay, so now he is going to click continue. He is going to click start. He's going to sign it. He's going to sign this and this and this and that. He's going to make his way all the way through, signing all of these spots for himself. You can see how fast a person could go through potentially. That was his offer. These are the disclosures where we dropped initials. Okay. And now he's finished, so he's going to click finish. Cool. Once he's finished, it's going to ask him if he wants to create an account. I did create an account for him because I use him as a test, but your person can just say, no, thanks, I don't want to create an account. Where can I view all forms? So Corey, to view them all, that's a great question. You can go into Docusign and look at them under My Docs. They're all there, but if you try to print one out from there, it's going to have a watermark on it because Docusign is only made for filling in documents and getting them signed, right? So if you're under My Docs, you can't print these out. You can go to forms and you can see what they all are. My recommended method of viewing forms as a realtor, if you just want to go through and look at them and read them, which I highly recommend that we do, is going to ncrealtors.com, ncrealtors.com, and logging in with your credentials. So every single year on July 1st, when our new forms come out, I go to ncrealtors.com, I log in and I download all of the forms for the year. And I put a Google Drive folder together. I have permission to share it with my main market center from my broker in charge because it's only being shared to licensed realtors. But you can do it for yourself. It's really, hopefully this will let me log in. Let's see. Okay, yes, I'm logged in. So here you can go to all kinds of stuff from NC Realtors. So you can look at your contract forms. You can look at sample forms. You can look at the 100 seller forms, right? That's the 100 series, 200 series is buyer, 300 series is residential contracts, 400 property management, 500 commercial, and so on and so forth. So there are so many different places we can get our forms from But you can also start a transaction from command, go to DocuSign, start typing into all of your forms, and you can print them out from that point. So I highly recommend that even if you guys don't have an active client today, use my name, do what I did and create an account for your pet or your wife or whoever, and come in here and practice doing a transaction, because it's better to know how to do it on the front end than the back end when you're freaking out about it. And remember, anything that's underlined in command is live. So you can actually click on it and see a blank copy of it and print it and do all that kind of stuff from there too. So just keep that in mind as well. So now that we got those documents signed, I'm going to move back to the room. You're welcome. And you're going to see in my documents tab, I now have two versions of everything. The original version, like the form, and the signed copy, right? So all the time I get the question, well, I made an offer, but the seller countered and they want X changed. You have two options, and I have to do this quick because I do have a 12 o'clock, but you have two options here. I don't like strike throughs. I think they look messy and I don't like them. That's personal preference, right? I opened the form version where I originally typed everything up. There's no signatures or anything here. And I go in and say, okay, we'll up this to, 360 or whatever it is the seller requested that my buyer agreed to. And I just send it off for fresh signatures. It's clean. There's no strike throughs. So that's how you can make the change that way, by just opening the one that says form. If you like doing strike throughs and you don't mind them, you can take the signed copy and click the checkbox and create an envelope and do all the same steps that we did before, except this time you will not use pre-tagged roles, because this is now a PDF, not a DocuSign form. So you can see it's a PDF. It doesn't say form. You would add the recipient from the room participants, pick your client, add selected, do all the same stuff and move forward. And then once it opens, you will come over here to the left-hand side and pick custom. No, I'll add you. Where's my stuff? Hold on. We used to have a different. We used to have one called markup tools. Oh, there it is. I was like, what the heck? They changed the name to pre-fill tools. So you can grab a line from over here and you can drop it on top of the 350. Then you have to grab a text and then you have to drag it over and you have to fill it in and say, this is actually going to be 360 like that. And then you're going to say, okay, that's done. Then you're going to have to come back up here to standard. And this is your client. So you're going to grab his initials. You're going to grab his date. And then he made that change and then you're going to send that off. Okay. I don't like strike throughs, but that is my personal preference. I just like a clean document. But that's two ways that you can change a pre-existing form legally, right? Make sure that you do it that way. And then you can send it. It'll come back to you just the same. Now, very quickly, we have 1 minute left. Back in command, I want to add the stuff that got signed. So I'm going to change the place I'm attaching from. Was previously manually. I'm now going to add it from DocuSign. And I'm going to choose the working folder, room documents. It's important to choose that working folder. And then you're going to be able to find the copy of your working with real estate agents disclosure that's signed. And you're going to be able to find the copy of your buyer agency agreement that's signed, and you're going to submit that to the market center. Then you're going to go to your under contract folder and you're going to find your room docs, your offer, right? There's that signed offer. Obviously you would have to have it signed by the seller first, but just so you guys can see it, there's that residential property disclosure, the mineral oil and gas rights, you would have gotten these things signed as well. And then you can submit that folder to the Market Center. Okay. So I hope that this helped you guys today. I love you to pieces. I can't wait to see you tomorrow. Agent website, adding pages, building landing pages, all that kind of stuff, and looking at the consumer app so we can see everything from the eyes of the consumer and how it interacts with the contacts in command, and how we can set up save searches and do all that kind of fun stuff. That's what we'll be doing tomorrow, 10 to 12, same bat channel. I hope I see you then. Y'all have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.